Hopefully we get back on track relatively quickly. So I can start, first of all, by introducing myself, Jillian, Scott Massey, the chair, Public Art Committee. Welcome. It's great to have you. I think that's about all I can say. Let me go in order around what I'm seeing. Phil, would you like to introduce yourself too?
Hi, Jillian. I'm Phil. I work at several art galleries in Vancouver as a preparator, meaning I set up the exhibitions, do a lot of technical work around them. Yeah, including some outdoor public art. So,
excellent. Greta?
Oh, hi, Jillian. Welcome. I'm Greta Smith. I'm with the Arts Council and the gallery.
And Jamie, in fact, I should say hello to you as well. This is our first time actually meeting officially, so apologies for that little oversight there. Welcome to the committee. It's good to see Jacqueline here as well to blend that overlap. But if Jamie, if you haven't actually introduced yourself to Jillian before, please go ahead.
Hi, Jillian. Yeah, we met yesterday virtually. But yeah, I was feeling a little left out. It's like, okay, I've been here for 6 months and now I'm like old news and I don't deserve introductions anymore.
Oh,
poor me.
Sorry, Jamie, you've been here so long now. You're old school.
I'm old school. Well, I guess I'm,
that's a good thing.
I'm just blending into the community now, which, yeah, after I had to fit into Jacqueline's major, big, high heel shoes.
Mary Lynn, over to you.
And Jillian, we know each other from commuting on the water taxi, but now I'm a realtor. I'm not commuting anymore, and I'm also on the Visual Arts Committee with Greta and Jamie. Yeah, welcome.
Good. And Jackie, have you both met? I'm not sure.
Yes, we have met before.
Okay.
Hi, nice to see you again. And as I say, I'm officially just a member of the public. I am soon to be no longer part of this committee, or I'm no longer part of it, depending on.
Just a member of the public.
Great. So back over to you, Steph. Are you going to be screen sharing the agenda, or is everyone? I mean, I know these things are always a little difficult to actually be looking at documents on your screen while you're trying to also see everybody and stay connected. So.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to screen share kind of the order of things. I can support you with that, the order of things, if you've only got one monitor.
That's okay.
But it will make
sure. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to minimize. Oh.
I can just start it out if you want. The next is the approval of the agenda.
Yeah, I'm just going to minimize that part so that I can see the agenda part a little. Okay, so I think we can jump right in. I think I'm going to assume you've all had a chance to at least look over the agenda. A big apology from me directly to Steph for the late involvement in all of that.
You had 9 months to prepare this agenda.
Right? 9 months, and I still just right off the radar. Okay, so let's just do a round of show of support for approval of that agenda. In favor, aye.
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 Great. And let's see. Oh, get myself to the top here.
Now we're going to look at the minutes from October 24th.
Right. So we're going to just go around and again, I'm assuming, of course, everybody's had a chance to look at those. So adoption of the minutes from October 24th, 2019. My God, it's a year ago now or more. All in favor? Aye.
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 Great. Okay, and then so let's jump right in. Public comments. Have we got any? Jackie, I guess, are you the sole representative for the public right now?
I'm it. I represent all public.
I thought it. See, it's a big role, isn't it? Okay, we're going to assume no public comments. Steph, yes?
Do you want to just, oh, shoot. We should have done this maybe in the agenda. Did you want to talk about your piece now, Jackie?
Can we leave that for new business at the end? Is that possible?
Sure. we
Is
should
this the
have
thing
totally
that
said
we're talking about that the three of us have emailed back and forth just recently? Yeah? Okay.
Put that in
Yeah,
other
let's,
business. Sure. So no public comments.
Yeah, let's do that. It's not really a public comment part. I think it's probably a new business thing. It's going to
Yeah.
most likely continue from after today.
Yes.
Okay.
Show to screen share the action items.
Yes, if you
Okay.
don't mind, let's do that. So,
You see it?
there we go. Yes,
Recommend?
indeed.
Okay.
All right. So, why don't we quickly pop through these?
So Scott was to ask David Van Berkel about mural paint.
Indeed, and I did have a discussion with David. He's excited by or he was anyway, that brief moment that I caught him on the ferry, was excited by the idea, said we could work something out. I've got nothing more specific than that, but knowing David, I expect that we could work something out in terms of at least a discount or a donation of mural paint if and when that it comes time.
Okay, I'll take it off then.
Yeah.
And Phil, draft a call for proposals template for community art competitions.
Yeah, good to see that again. I had
I'll go.
reviewed a bunch of other public calls, but had not put one together. So this is now back on my list.
Okay. See you next year. Ongoing, and Councillor Nicholson meet about the priority, including the public art specifically. I'm not sure what the status of that is. We'll leave that on.
Okay, yeah, let's leave that for the next time.
Number 2 is the 2020 island plan. That's come and gone. We're on the 2021 island plan now.
Okay.
The met strategic council met for strategic planning last week or the week before. So
Do you have any idea if Maureen was, if that had been brought up in any way?
I would let Maureen speak to that. I'm going to guess that we've had some pretty massive eclipsing types of events this year.
For sure we have.
I know they're streamlining a little bit. I think they had 8 major overarching themes. But collaborative projects is a topic that's even broader than art. It's to do with a lot of the grant funding that's coming from the province, and the Economic Development Committee is going to be working on this topic as well. So I think there's some strength behind it.
Okay.
I have nothing specific, but I do think this is collaborative projects is a hot topic right now.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, listen, since both of these are falling under Maureen's purview here, maybe we can just make a note as a reminder that if she's able to fill us in on anything that has happened with either of those points.
I will ask her.
Okay.
And then Shauna, Jillian.
Yes, Jillian.
About stating the ownership of the Spirit Flame sculpture. Did that happen?
I don't know. I've started looking through her documents, but I haven't found anything yet. So
Scott, do you know if anything?
I didn't, nothing came to me from Shauna about that. Now is Shauna still like on island at all? Like, is there any, I mean, how much Jillian, or how much overlap, follow-up, or no communication anymore at all? Okay.
Well, I just started yesterday.
Oh, you did? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I can follow up with Shauna though.
Oh, come on. You haven't reviewed every document in Shauna's.
I know, I'm terribly slow. But
I can follow up with Shauna. Give me an excuse to talk to her.
Yeah, okay. So that one was stating that municipality So she was going to be drafting a document that states the municipality, or drafting or searching for.
Drafting.
I'm
I don't think
searching, she was
anything.
drafting.
Sorry, what was that?
No, I was just saying that I've been searching. I think she was drafting.
Okay, yes, yeah, I didn't think anything existed prior, so yeah, okay. And then I guess the same thing with the something, even a simple document, just communication with the bell ringers that they're officially stating that the sculpture remaining on their property is fine with them. So why don't we just throw both of those over to Jillian, if you don't mind, Steph and Jillian, if you're okay with grabbing those two.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's fine.
Excellent, thank you. I think can we move on from number one then, Steph?
Yep, and then Jackie to request a quote from.
Yeah, that's been covered and done, I believe. We should, I don't know, I didn't see it on the agenda, but there is some follow-up with that. I think a number of us received a letter from, oh God, sorry.
And James?
Shane.
Thank you, whoever. Yes, a letter from Shane. We should probably at least make mention of that in this meeting. So business arising, we'll just add that to there. I can speak to that. Number three, so prior to, I think this was like late November, I was having discussions with, and I have blanked on her name. Is it Rachel maybe, or whoever manages the municipal infrastructure
Public Works?
stuff? Sorry?
Public Works, Rachel Price Jones.
There we go. Public Works, Rachel Price Jones. Yes, thank you. I had the first name right. Okay. I was speaking with her. We were trying to coordinate back and forth, getting one of her guys or a crew or something out there to give a test. End of the day, Christmas came upon everybody lightning quick, and it didn't happen. So unfortunately, the amount that we had put aside for that testing was not used up. So I think we lost that, didn't we, Steph? But if I can continue conversations with Rachel, hopefully I can, pull a favor with her maybe and see if she can just send somebody down there for a quick test when they've got that gear out and running. So that one stays with me. I'll continue.
And the last one, add community education to the agenda. I think
Which
I
you
did
did.
that. Okay, I'm gonna close this screen off now.
Excellent.
So.
Okay,
first
so
topic is the accession policy. I think you might want to include the letter in that one. So
the letter, from
amending the
Shane.
accession. Mhm.
Yes. So yeah, I'm sorry. I totally don't recall.
I think there was in response to that letter was that the artist.
Oh, no, sorry, Steph. This note 5.1, amend the accession policy, amend to include notification of arts discussion.
I think that's supposed to say artist. So you wanted to discuss amending the policy to include stipulation that artists be notified. Gotcha.
Yes. Thank you very much. Perfect. Indeed. Okay. So let's go over that. Part of I've lost you guys. Where are you? There we are. I really hate this laptop. I have to say it's my city loaner. So part of our due diligence as PAAC in regards to any changes or repairs or anything happening with existing public artwork is that we need to notify each or any of the artists involved in said project about anything that we're considering doing prior to actually doing it. I for one, dropped the ball on this one. We undertook, it was a lot of chaos at the end of our last meeting for sure. And then of course with the COVID thing, a number of things got set in motion that were not really done within the context of our PAAC meetings just because we couldn't. So one of the issue in question is that the Spirit of the Flame sculpture, which was under discussion at our last meeting, and we all agreed to reach out. Unfortunately, we agreed to reach out to Simon Daniel James, who was one of the two artists involved in that sculpture. Simon is very well known for his restoration work and painting, and he's worked on a number of actual totem poles both on and off Bowen. And so we agreed to connect with him about restoring the Spirit of the Flame sculpture. It was obviously in need of a lot of attention. One of the things we failed to do was through this whole process and the confusion, we failed to notify Shane Tweeton, who was also involved in the original production of that sculpture. And understandably, Shane wrote us all a note expressing a deep disappointment and frustration about the lack of inclusion, not only in the dialogue, but then also in the repairs to the work itself, which by that point had already been done. So after a number of back and forth email correspondences, I cannot recall exactly who or who wasn't involved at that point. I know for sure it was myself and Steph and possibly Jackie. Were you also involved, I believe? In any case, I believe the issue was resolved to some degree. At the very least, it was let go. I'm not sure if Shane brought any of this situation up to council. He threatened to do so. I recommended he was perfectly willing and able to go ahead with that if he felt that was necessary. Anyway, I think probably there's a slightly bitter taste in his mouth. I certainly took, as the email strings would note, I certainly took full responsibility for that oversight. And this is why we're talking about this now. We got to make sure that we don't do that again in the future. So do we need to vote on this amendment, Steph? Is that what we're going to do?
Well, I actually don't think I have the final versions of those documents, and I should. Who has them?
Certainly do. I have.
You do. So if you can send them to me, I can amend and then put forward a draft. But why don't you let the people discuss that, maybe, Scott, before?
Yeah, absolutely. So are there any questions from anybody regarding what I've just described or outlined?
Questions or comments? Do you want to screen share the policy, Jackie, and we can see what?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to see what that looked like.
And I just wanted to add that I totally understand Shane's perspective on this. And yes, we absolutely do need to make an amendment that says all artists who had been involved in the original project need to be apprised of any work or changes, because was definitely an oversight on our part. And did we actually tell Shane, did we apologize to Shane?
On a number of occasions within my email correspondence with him, I definitely did. And I'm happy to share that correspondence as part
think,
of the,
yeah, I think I saw some of it. So I'm a bit hazy about the details now. It was some time ago. And
yeah,
I just want to reiterate that I want to make sure this doesn't happen again.
hence the amendment to the policy.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we, instead of, it looks like Jackie might be working too hard on finding the policy.
Mhm.
Make a vote. That was a great, easier solution. Make a, propose that the Public Art Advisory Committee resolve to amend the accession policy to include stipulation that all artists involved in creation of a work be notified before cleaning or repair is performed on that work.
right. Does everybody feel they have enough information going forward to make a vote on that?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So I'm certainly voting in favor of.
Yeah. Me too.
Seconded or whatever.
Okay. I believe unanimous.
In addition, on this issue, could we're developing, I believe, a spreadsheet or a database of all public artworks on Bowen or artworks on Bowen. Could we then have like a section that is stakeholders? So which would include authors or artists, but then also, you know, in this case, in this example, the bell ringers, because it's on
Ringers
their
is
property,
owners.
or, you know,
Yes.
neighbors, you know, things like that, you know.
It's a very good
Have
idea.
a ready list of all the people we'd want to contact when we plan to do something.
Brilliant. Thank you, Phil. Perfect. We can add that in, Steph.
Yep.
Lovely. Okay, next. Where are we here? Okay.
The next is going to be
mural.
the murals. Mhm.
Okay. Shall we table that for when Maureen is next with us?
Sure.
Or can anyone speak to that?
I think I'd like to hear what Maureen has to offer us.
I don't think I can speak to us, but can I ask, should we still be making this plan of getting a whole bunch of children together close to each other?
Want to
Standing up
catch
against the wall?
Jillian up on that idea? Maybe.
Yes, indeed.
Who wants to catch Julian up?
Okay, so Jillian, this is one of, going back to when we first formed, there were a couple of priorities. The first was drafting all of our policies to make sure that we had a framework in place to guide us going forward, makes things a lot easier, catches our mistakes quickly, and then we worked on that. Then the other part of that was trying to think of or look at ways that we could make a community-oriented project that was easy and fun and was a great opportunity to introduce the new, at that point, Bowen Island Public Art Committee to Bowen Island. And one of the great ideas that came up was making a sort of shadow outline of a bunch of kids in different poses against the currently horrendous looking lock block wall as you come off the ferry. And so Steph, I think, dug up some example of someone who had done this with water, water spray. And so that was like more of a temporary ephemeral work, but playing off of that to do the water outline to get this profile of kids, frozen in their exuberant dancing. We would then hire an artist to come along and draw, capture those outlines before they faded of all these kids. And then, we're still working out the details, but then go back and actually paint in a whole bunch of different colors, all of the kids against this neutral or other static color background all the way along that lock block wall. So obviously COVID made that impossible. We couldn't certainly have any more discussions. And we are also still in the midst of the pandemic. And so, yeah, it's not exactly clear how we would achieve a thing like that safely right now. I think we should certainly continue to discuss it. The weather is kind of past now, so I think at least for the next few months into early spring, probably if we're doing anything towards that project, would be more of a preparatory situation of assessing the lock block wall and seeing how much it takes to clean it and what we can get it back to and that sort of thing. And maybe that's a good strategy with the idea and the hopeful idea that come spring, we might actually be able to move forward in a safe manner with having kids around together as part of that project. So there's the big question mark for us, but certainly we've got some time to put a few things in place to prepare ourselves and perhaps the site in anticipation of a comfortable and safe moment to do anything with it.
Okay, thank you for that.
It's a fun project. We were all very excited.
Mhm.
I was sad to see it get held up, but anyway, there you go.
Well, it sounds like it would be a beautiful addition to that wall, that's for sure.
I think we all believe so. Yes, for sure.
So Scott, was that the final plan for that wall, was to do sort of the imprints of children playing?
Well, so
final...
the long-term existence of the wall, or the long-term nature of whatever happens on that wall is certainly something that we as PAAC were hoping to develop as a mid and longer range plan. And so some ideas were floated by about, every year or 2 years thinking or putting out a call or thinking of a new project or something else in the spirit, in this community building spirit, maybe as a welcome to spring kind of moment. The details and all that have not been fleshed out in any way, shape, or form, but I think we all generally identified the lock block wall as one, needing some life and love, and two, and actually a really good spot to enact some fairly fun and inexpensive, relatively speaking, projects on a regular, if intermittent basis.
And is that wall a permanent wall that will be there for a long period of time?
I don't know of any plans to the contrary.
Okay, with the upgrades to the ferry terminal, they're not changing that. That's not part of the.
Yeah, that I don't know. I think that was probably the part of what Maureen might have been looking into. Yes, Steph? Oh, you're on mute.
Really don't know, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't know if that was
okay. That's okay.
Part, Maureen was looking into the aspects of that whole area and its implications to us and vice versa. So yeah, I can't speak to it. I have no information.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, you've talked about a short-term, some short-term ideas on that perfectly great canvas that would be so fun to update. Well, to make it look a little bit better than what it looks like right now.
Yeah, the buff color isn't doing it for me, I'll tell you.
No, welcome to Bowen Island, to our concrete wall. Okay, I just needed to get up to date on that.
Yeah,
the plans were. And
did
so
I capture that? Is it? Have they cover all those points?
Yeah. Can I just ask a question? So the work that Phil was doing and the competition idea, is that I forget so long ago. Is that still associated? Is that associated with the lock block wall or something?
My understanding was the work that Phil was looking into as far as a template was not just for the lock block wall. It could certainly be used for a call for the lock block wall, depending on where our conversations went as to its continuing future. But I think the kids and stuff was an idea that we felt confident enough to pursue without any public call to implement as that introduction to Bowen Island PAAC. And then, of course, whatever future projects might or might not happen up there, then the template would be part of that process of putting out calls or structuring those calls, or but not just for Lock Block Wall. There could, we'll probably identify other locations where art would make sense, and then we can formulate calls specific to those areas. But that's quite a ways down the road, I think.
Is there a need right now to maybe do a short article in the Undercurrent just to show that this committee is active and doing things and has maybe a few plans in place?
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I think it would be a great idea. I will admit that I think any time in the very near future would seem premature as we get our legs back with the committee, and also with the uncertainty going forward, and also just we're entering into winter, and we all were well aware that winter would be a fairly quiet time in terms of our presence. So I think if we put anything out now, it would get lost and forgotten about, and we would have nothing imminent as a reminder. So I think it's a great idea. I definitely want to put that on our to-do list and plan it for, say, the springtime, when we've got a plan in place, or something solid to point to as an achievement accomplished. The Spirit of the Flame sculpture might be an item that we could jump with. I don't know. Do you want to, maybe that's something, Steph, we could add to add somewhere to some businesses. We won't attach anyone's name to it just yet, but thinking about an introductory notice in the Undercurrent would be great for sure.
Because this project really is, sorry, Phil, this project is really a low-hanging fruit project that would show activity at least in the community.
Yeah.
And if we can at least start making some plans towards that for the spring, so that we're not at spring and being, oh shoot, we didn't do anything again.
Oh, definitely. Yep.
I don't know how the process works here, but I don't know if we talk about this and say, okay, Scott, you've got the paint sort of secured, and so what's the next step? What do we do to at least get that started?
Indeed. Yeah, absolutely. You're right about the low-hanging fruit. That's definitely was a big part of the appeal of the project and the idea. I think we're all still firmly committed to pursuing it, and that those tasks will become part of our discussions about new business and what sort of action items we can attach to it. So yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right, Jamie. We want to be certainly prepared for spring and not start when spring comes upon us. Yeah. Jackie, you're muted. There you go.
Yeah, if I just jump in, that actually those steps were kind of identified already in the work plan, Jamie. So if you refer to the work plan that was drafted last year, there's kind of a approach to achieve. Yeah.
I believe that was also meant to be our kind of coming out event. So to just loop back to the idea about something in the Undercurrent, I thought that this Lock Block Wall project and its announcement was going to be kind of our coming out to the community.
Mm-hmm. It certainly was meant to be, yeah.
Great. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
It just seems so sad. Like there was this big coming out event, and then
Yeah,
and then we went back into our shells again.
we sure did. Yeah.
No coming out this time.
No.
so maybe we should schedule a meeting for sooner and get Maureen involved and pull some of this stuff together.
Yes, I think
Like
that's
before
a great idea.
Christmas. Is that
But I think we can cover that off now and move to update stuff. So the Hearth update, I guess that would be you,
Hearth.
Jamie.
The Hearth. not the
Hearth. Oh, I'm
Hearth.
sorry. God, yes.
Come
Thank you.
on, Scott, get with it. So update. Okay. So I have been thinking about that and what to update you with in regards to the Public Art Advisory Committee. And one thing that we, Tina and I, the library and the Hearth did is we applied for one of the SIRP grants in the Destination Development, I think it was, stream, to finish off phase 2 landscaping plans for and around Cove Commons. And one of the, well, three things. There's the landscaping that needs to be finished. There is a plan to put in a permanent stage with a sort of a timber frame cover,
Nice.
which will be used for a number of different things that both the library and the Hearth will be programming. But the third thing is to put in a public art piece, a permanent public art piece here in front of the entrance to the Hearth. So it's all part of the grant that we wrote and part of the budget as well to have a permanent art piece. So I thought I'd just put that out there because I'd really like input from this group on what that piece looks like and how that works. Myself at the Hearth, I don't want to make that decision. I think that this should be a group decision on the best opportunity to have a piece of art down here in Cove. Snug Cove. I'm getting used to all the words of this new community, so bear with me. But anyway, that would be my update. Really, Jackie, is there anything else that I'm forgetting? No. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so Jackie, that was the item, that last item was the thing you were referring to in your emails, I'm assuming? No, okay, different. So two different things, okay. So then, yes, Jamie, I think we can, well, I think probably the first thing is to have you look over the accession policies for PAAC. There's 3 or so different streams or methods that an artwork can enter into or be part of part of the public art archive. So I'm just trying to think, how would we put that in, Steph, to as part of discussions ongoing?
Why don't we take the grant, Jamie? Is that a public document, the grant application for the SIRP?
Yes.
Would you be able to share that by email with the committee members?
Sure. The part about the public art piece is just like one sentence.
Okay.
So we haven't committed ourselves to doing this.
We can make it an action item, Scott, that committee members can give some thought to.
Yeah.
You have criteria for people. You can share that.
So now maybe it sounds like suddenly a lot of action public art wise down at the library. So we had the donation already on our discussion lists. Now there's a potential for 2 additional public artworks for that location. Am I understanding that correctly?
What would the 2 additional be? I mean,
I'm jumping ahead a bit, Greta. Jackie and Steph and I have been sharing just briefly before the meeting a couple emails. So that is something Jackie's going to bring up, or we'll discuss. Should we discuss that now? It seems to make sense.
I just want to make 2 comments, Scott. First of all, the thing that I want to discuss about is a potential public art piece on the new community center, not the Cove Commons.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my confusion. Yes. All right. Gotcha.
Not really sure when this is, in terms of your agenda, where this would come in, but the potential donation that was to go on to the Cove Commons green space is no longer on the table. The woman who was off to bring that forward is no longer living on Bowen Island.
I see, and she's no longer interested in pursuing that idea.
I know she's not. I have not followed up with her since she's left the island, but so I'm actually presuming that that's the case. So to be honest, I mean, it still could be followed up, but I just wanted to inform you on that, that potentially it's quite possible she's no longer interested in that initiative.
Okay, so now that discussion was between you and her, Jackie. So I'm wondering, because so much discussion was already played out, it might be, rather than assume just since she's left, she's no longer interested, maybe it's a legacy piece that she would still be interested in pursuing, just to ask that question rather than, drop everything. Because I think everybody was pretty interested and excited about that possibility when we were discussing it. I'd hate to just assume that it's dead if in fact we might be able to resuscitate it. So I know you're not part of this committee. If you can maybe give Steph any information, contact info, unless you want to, if you're okay with just making a quick follow-up with her personally?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine to do that. I'll reach out to her.
Okay.
Highly likely, because there were a number of other factors that were contributing to her decision about that, and
Sure.
they're no longer applicable. But at any rate, regardless, I will reach out to her and I will let Steph know the result of that conversation.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I think it's
And
worth.
Jackie, you'll let her know that we're hopefully finishing off the phase 2 of the Cove Commons landscaping, and that a permanent art project will be hopefully part of that.
Absolutely. And Jamie, is that dependent upon that grant?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we get a partial part of that grant, then we'll just do partially, break it up into pieces basically. And the art piece probably won't be part of that.
Okay, thanks.
I just think that, we knew that the original budget in those discussions was inadequate for the full scope. So I just wonder if that was, it may be a situation where we might be able to combine those two potential opportunities, since there's perhaps partial budgets from both parties. If everyone would, come to an agreement, but that might be something as a selling point, maybe, Jackie, to say, listen, wouldn't necessarily be all on you, but maybe you'd still be interested in supporting the project in some way.
That would be great.
Another avenue, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. After the Hearth update, we are on, where am I here?
Council, so
Council
say
update.
deferred on
Thank
that.
you.
No one from council here. And then staff is Jillian, but she's got
I
nothing to
haven't
say.
anything to update at this time.
Not a problem, of course. Still very, very early on. Okay, so where does that put us, Steph? Sorry.
So now we're at the work plan.
Work
And
plan.
yeah,
Okay.
from 2020.
Correct.
And then, yeah.
So
Want me to show it or?
yeah, if you don't mind. Sorry, I know I had it
Thank
up
you.
here
Okay.
earlier.
I'm sure I've got the right one. Okay.
Okay, so in fact, we've covered this lock block wall conversation. This is still on our task. The public art donation, that's the one we were just discussing for anyone who was a little confused or new to the committee. That was so that's something there that Jackie will just quickly follow up with. Communication and education. So that is, we haven't really gone any further with that, other than, I think, Jackie, you brought a few of the hard copy pamphlets together for us. Steph, do we have anybody specifically tied to investigating the current public art inventory?
No.
So
Okay.
the Arts Council does have a preliminary inventory that was, I think, undertaken about 7 years ago. I'm just going to guess here.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I brought in those materials, because there was an art and nature walk, which incorporated a number of public art pieces. And yeah, so there is some preliminary work that's been done.
Yes.
So is that something we want to work on? Jamie, would you be interested in just taking another step on this?
Oh, you're muted,
Yeah,
Jamie. Sorry.
Sure.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, sure. I would. I certainly would. But I would need somebody who's a sort of longer time local than me to help me with that, because I really am not aware of a lot of the existing public art pieces and on the island.
Yeah, and Jamie, I'd be happy to just kind of direct you in the direction of where what is existing. And I think the intention was, as you see, there is a $2,500 budget to go with that, to actually hire a contractor to take on some of that work.
There is it. Oh, $2,500 from
Yes.
the Public Art Reserve. Okay, that's specific for this project?
Initiative, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, Jackie. Okay.
Can I make
awesome.
can I make a comment? Just since we're, going forward, we probably want to educate the public about who we are and what we do. Steph, would it be possible for the Muni to have a webpage for us, for the Public Art Advisory Committee, where we could actually have pictures of the inventory and little descriptions of what we have? I mean, is that too much work, or?
I think if we can, and that would be up to, I could support Jillian, but that would be Jillian and Jamie working on that. I can flip over to, we do have a webpage. All the committees have their own webpage.
Okay.
Some of them, it's a very generic terms of reference, committee members, reference documents. The EDC, for example, has some subpages because they do so much work. So we could possibly do a subpage
Okay.
on the PAAC page to make a gallery.
It's a great idea. Yeah. Yeah. Something
It would
like
depend on workflow. So, and that might involve council direction, but I can flag it.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the pamphlets and stuff, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
we don't have to have printed pamphlets. We can have a webpage instead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely printed material dates rather quickly, and a web page can be constantly updated and tweaked. It's a great idea, almost acting like a registry of sorts of public art on Bowen. So thank you, Mary Lynn. I think that was Mary Lynn, yes?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, and that I can just suggest that could be part of that work that needs to be done with that budget. Again, that contractor could ask, that could be part of that contract to task to update that website, or to establish some, both not just about the inventory, but just general education and information on public art on Bowen.
So I have found a document in Shauna's files. It looks like it was updated last June. That's it's called an incomplete listing of public art on Bowen Island.
That's probably
There's the place to start.
Yeah, it's a great start. Yeah. So
Do you want to? You can share that with the group. I think we might have seen that. Like we might all have it, but I think we should just start resharing things because it's long. So it's PAAC@bimbc.ca.
Okay.
Thank you, Jillian.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes, Julian, appreciate it.
Oh, done.
In fact, almost. Bear with me. In fact, is another topic that I need to discuss with Rachel, but we do in fact have a brand new bronze plaque,
Oh, cool.
solid bronze.
Yay.
That's not going anywhere. Must weigh about 6 pounds, this thing. So that still needs to be installed. I was going to take that on, but I realized the tools that I have won't actually drill into the rock. There is harder than concrete, and I've only got drills that are going to handle concrete. So I was going to get Rachel to see if somebody on her crew could assist with drilling holes and getting this mounted. So that is on my task list. But it's beautiful.
Where is it going, Scott?
This plaque is replacing the existing illegible plaque for Spirit of the Flame sculpture, which is that large totem just up from Four Corners along that hill. How do I describe this?
The village square.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
I know. I've seen it. Yes.
Okay,
thanks,
okay.
Scott. Yeah,
Great.
beautiful piece. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is all fully engraved and painted infill. It's really well done. And we came in what I think $5 under the plaque budget or something. So we did well on that one. Lock block, yeah, that one obviously we dropped. We lost out on that one, unfortunately.
Scott, did you investigate the power washing? Where did that end?
No, yes, sorry, that was, I did mention that earlier. I was having conversations with Rachel at Public Works prior, at the end of November last year, and our back and forth just got eaten up into the Christmas holidays, and
Right.
it actually just didn't happen prior to, and we had only until the end of the year to do that. Now, what I'm hoping is that I might be able to convince her to send somebody down there to do a quick test, which may not cost us anything. And so, we will have lost the 750, but not lost anything perhaps. So it's my hope.
Have we lost it, or we lose it at the end of this year?
No, that was we were hoping to use that up. We had until the end of last year to use that money.
Okay.
But yeah, that we drafted that plan so late in the year. I think there was time had run out on that one.
We can't extend that?
No, we can't,
Just
because that was brought to council.
Budgets won't carry over, Jamie, especially these types
Okay.
of committee related budgets, and Maureen would know more about what's happening, and Jillian when she gets her feet on the ground. I'm not sure what's going on with the art budget this year.
And that that wall has to be cleaned before we do anything on it?
Yeah, the existing paint layers would have to be removed in order,
Okay.
at least in order to do the water silhouetting outline situation. So yeah, we still need to investigate that.
Sorry, I'm going to have to depart.
Oh, there you are.
I,
Yes,
I think
155.
you're at the end of the agenda anyway, so sorry about that.
Not a problem,
So,
Greta. Thank you.
thanks.
Great to see you.
Okay,
Thank you,
keep well,
Greta.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Indeed.
So do you want me to stop sharing the screen?
Yes, we can stop sharing that, Steph. Thank you. And see where we are.
Do we talk about the budget at all? Maybe, or just let me know how much money is put aside each year from BIM for this committee?
So
Go ahead, Steph.
this is a new committee. Committees don't have budgets. Only the EDC is the only one that has a budget. So it's kind of going to be the public art project. So that's going to fall within Jillian's budget request. She has just started, so back off. I don't think she knows what's in her budget request. She doesn't even know she requested a budget, but you did. So
Wasn't that budget, though, the 2020 work plan and budget was approved by council? So there is a budget that goes with the existing work plan, correct?
Absolutely. But it's not, it's in Jillian's work portfolio.
And then there's a $10,000 a year reserve amount set aside for art specifically.
That's what I understood. Yes. So there should be a $10,000 in that reserve from last year. Is that not correct, Steph? And then we have another 10,000, or is that where you're saying Maureen needs to?
And you're saying that 10,000 rolls over, Jackie?
Oh, actually, it's 10,000 each year will be put into the public art reserve. That's part of the policy.
Yeah.
The policy. 10,000 goes directly to the reserve, but
okay, sorry.
The 2020 work plan, you've also were approved for $7,500 for that public art donation and $2,500 for the public art reserve, as well as some work that has been done on the flame, right? So the Spirit Flame sculpture restoration, that was also $2,500 from the 2020 budget, which has already been spent. Does that help, Jamie?
Yeah, yes. So, and you say that this approved budget can go into next year, into 2021 if we're, no?
No, it's a 2020 budget, just says, that's why we're saying the 2019, we didn't spend those certain amounts, we lost it. So every year, and again, this would be a question for Steph, but we were, and to be this time of year, I would think to get together a work plan with a budget that would be then proposed to council to go forward in their budgeting process.
Which is rolling right now. So
there's by rolling?
Their managers are meeting with the CFO right now.
Oh, okay. So, I see what you're saying.
So for now, there's nothing in for the 2021 budget except for that $10,000 reserve amount.
Okay. Okay.
Jillian, have you met with?
No, I was about to say I will be within a week or so at the most, meeting with Raj and finding out about budget. So I'll definitely put that on the agenda.
Perfect.
So do we need to do?
Do you want to just do a work plan?
Yeah.
Want to ask that to be adjusted for the next year, at least, that you've already identified the work to be done. I don't know.
Do you think that Jillian can work with this existing work plan, and then you can provide her with notes in addition?
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to Jamie and you, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Well, certainly there's items on the previous year work plan that we need to bring forward that we want to continue. The lock block wall is obviously the primary one. Then we will, depending on the conversations with the final stages of the landscape work at the Hearth, that will also become part of the current work plan. And anything else that's coming to our attention, maybe now can we jump forward? Maybe now, Jackie, is a good time to discuss the artwork you were referring to in terms of the community center.
Sure.
Wait, sorry, Jackie, just one more question. So part of that budget was the $2,500 for the public art program. So we're saying that we have to spend that money before the end of this year to create that list.
Yes, that would be for this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or ask for it to be brought forward to next.
I mean, that's not just the list. That would be yeah.
The public art
looking for a way of identifying and archiving and presenting all the existing public artworks on Bowen for this year. Yeah.
So there's probably no way, Jackie, we can get that done before the end of December.
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so. I think that needs to go forward to your next budget.
Okay. And how do we do that? Fill me in on the.
So that's going to be a staff operational process. So what the procedure would be for a committee would be, we would put together a work plan like this, as a group, and then we'd vote on it. And we'd say that this is what we would like to be in the public art. And then council would see that through the minutes, probably through consent agenda, but Jillian would do the lion's share of getting that accomplished at the staff level with the CFO in her meetings with the CFO.
Okay.
Because it's like, I feel like we should be voting on something right now, but because we haven't met in a year, we haven't had a chance to hash out a 2021 work plan. I don't see how that's really doable. So I think maybe
so we could
members
miss out
can
then.
individually support Jillian with requests, as long as you get a chunk that you can justify based on this discussion. I don't think you'll have pushback from the CFO. And perhaps at our next meeting, we can get committee support for council.
And we can't just take this work plan and fix it up a little bit and push it into 2021, since a lot of this hasn't been done. Well, not
I
a
think
lot
so.
of it, but some.
Well, yeah, sure. Certainly we'll be able to do that with some of those items.
You mean
Sure.
this meeting? You want to do that right now?
Well, yeah, because if council is right in the middle of doing their budgets, isn't this the time? Or do we have some time? Do we have
not a lot of time, but I'm thinking
No.
maybe because Jillian's finding her feet, do you want to be the one to do on the document itself and get it to her? Would you be able to do that?
Yeah.
Would you be okay with that, Jillian?
I'm just going to take this document and change it to 2021. I don't know. Take off the Spirit Flame project and say, let's just push all this forward to 2021.
Well, as Steph said, if the bulk of the workload falls to me, I'm going to be a little bit hesitant today to commit to a lot of things for next year when I don't know the scope of my full workload at this time.
Okay. I appreciate that, Jillian. I don't want to add more, but if this is something somewhat simple that we can just push it forward. Yeah, that's fine. And I guess I'm still learning how the work is distributed amongst this committee. Right. So. Me too. Yeah. So
when I'm saying work, I mean the work of getting the budget, just the work of asking for the money and getting the money put into your budget. That's okay. That's
okay. That I don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I mean, we can do that, Scott. If you want to just do like a vote on that, the committee votes that the 2020 work plan and budget be pushed forward to 2021, then we have some committee support to help.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. I think Jackie's got a point.
Yeah, I was just to say, could I just maybe jump in with this potential new business just before you?
Yeah.
You want to give it some consideration as well?
Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll go back to voting on the work plan. Yeah. So go ahead, Jackie. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Scott, and thanks everyone for your time. So in addition to just being here because I like to hang out with all you guys going on, I'm also have had a history of working on the community center project, and I'm continuing to do that, working with the municipality and the Hearth. And I'm sure you all know that we're going ahead with this project, pretty excited about it. So right now I'm kind of taking on the role of fundraising coordination for that project. And part of that is that we are developing a donor recognition initiative. And what that looks like is probably both to do some kind of an installation and a signage per se inside the building. So that would be an indoor, thank you sign of some sort. But additionally, we've always talked about this, and Jillian, Sean and I had this discussion from way back, that of course this is our community center. We would love to have a public art piece installed, probably in a coordination with the donor recognition. So some way of, again, a public art initiative or installation that reflects all the support and generosity of our community in creating this new public asset. Steph, could I share my screen for a second? Am I able to do that? Let me just try. If I'll have ability to do that. I don't know if I will.
I think she's on mute.
Yeah, but she can.
Sorry, yes, you have it.
I'm able to, okay.
Yep.
So when I go to my basic whiteboard, iPhone, yeah, it doesn't look like I have an option for my screen. Anyway, it's not that important. I was just going to maybe
I have
to
given you the option. Did you, like you, it says,
share screen. Usually it pops up. I can show my,
or do you want to send it to me as a workaround?
I was just going to go to a website, to a online Google site of public art installations. So around buildings. So just to give you guys an insight idea of what we might conceive of doing. This is really early stages for this. I've been working mostly with the project management team to talk about how this will work in terms of planning for the landscaping and the actual construction of the space, talking about footprint, maybe a little bit talking about logistics. But in terms of concept and development of this idea, again, it's at really early stages. So and that seems to me, but it's bringing this forward to you, a natural fit with the Public Art Advisory Committee. My intention today is just to give you the heads up that something like this is going to be happening, and then also to see if the committee wants to engage, or even members of the committee want to engage going forward in terms of developing that process, developing that budget. It's going to be, as I say, this is early stage concept. We hope ideally that the project may begin in the fall of next year, late summer, fall. So this is a long-term project. The public art piece would probably be the final thing that would be installed. So we're talking down the road. We don't have a budget per se. There was only about $16,000 in the capital budget that was set aside for the donor recognition piece. That's quite a small amount, of course, as you know. We're considering looking elsewhere for funding, and maybe again combining it with a public art advisory committee in terms of your projects. So yeah, that's why I just wanted to bring it forward, give you the heads up, and see if there is an appetite and desire from this committee to be part of that process, which I ultimately feel like it will come to you in one form or another. I mean, you will be consulted, you will be involved, but I guess the question is, at what stage would you like to jump in on this? And again, if there's individual people, or how you would like to engage in this, if you could give me advice or direction on that, that would be great.
Well, yeah, great. Thank you, Jackie. Obviously, it would make a lot of sense for the Bowen Island Public Art Committee to be integrally involved in a public artwork going into the grounds of the community center. So I would say that definitely we'd want to be part of that discussion for sure. But further to that, I think that would be really one of those possible signature projects that we would be completely involved with. So it's a little early. That discussion is far too early to be putting any notes down on a budget for next year. So I don't, that I think we'll just leave aside in terms of the budget discussion, but we definitely somehow, Steph, we need to, we should identify this as a point of discussion going forward. And Jackie, I guess you would be our point of contact between PAAC and the community center project group. Yes. So let's identify that as an ongoing discussion. Yeah, Jamie.
Can I just, Jackie, would it be easy? Would it be smart to have a small budget for 2021 to do the research on an art project?
So it's your call, but I think that I'm going to ask you for some time, right? And so, yeah, you might want to put in just a nominal amount, recognizing that you're committing to doing that. And having said that, I have no idea how much you'd want to identify, but we're going to do that. I think there'll be some brainstorming, some research, some the ideas that we'll be throwing around and working together. So yeah,
because even like artist sketches and things like that you can't ask an artist to do that for free.
No, this would be a good, this could be a good place to do an artist call, a funded artist call. to do a short list, and then identify however many artists as a short list, and then actually pay them a fee to develop ideas, and then choose from there and run it like a real public art process.
Mm-hmm. And Jackie, that would be something that you could do as a contractor, couldn't you? To run with something like that? No?
I'm sure. I mean, I think it's still so undeveloped at this point, and I apologize that there's nothing more concrete that I'm bringing to you. This is all happening very recently as well. And of course, I'm working with Jamie and Jillian on that committee, so it's evolving too. But I mean, I think, Jamie, good to your point, yeah, over the next year, so let's just talking about 2021, yeah, we might make it to the point where we're going to ask for some, we might need a little bit of budget to talk to around a sketch or develop some initial design or ideas. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the competition by the end of the year. Like, I think it's, well, who knows? But I think that might be too ambitious, that we're actually going to get to that point. We have to figure out the funding side of it as well. And when I say we, I'm also talking about the community center committee. But yeah, there's a lot of different factors that need to be determined that we haven't even started thinking about. So it is a long-term project, but yeah, you might want to contemplate if you're going to commit to it in part of your work plan to attach a little bit of a budget beside it.
As part of my role with the community center, or within this group? Within
this group. I think we could add a nominal fee to the budget work plan as an earmark for possible research or consultant advisory fees towards developing a short list. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It could be like, I'm just throwing a number out there, but it could be like $2,500 as a partial.
And then if we were going to, I think $2,500, something like that. And if you don't spend it, you don't spend it, but just something there so that you have some room to move.
And Philip, you have experience with public art pieces.
Mostly in the technical part of things, I think. For this part of it, I think Scott has more experience with competitions.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, no problem.
Steph.
So how is wouldn't this come out of the community center budget?
So
I can't hear you.
So Steph was just asking whether this would come out of the community center budget. So as I said, there's not a lot of money in the community center budget for this. So we've raised this capital. We've been doing fundraising to raise $14.5 million. That includes a very small, like I said, $16,000 for a donor recognition aspect. So not for public art. And 10,000 of that was actually earmarked for public art. So, but even if we're doing an installation in the building, like I know the one at the Cove Commons cost, the thank you board cost, I think, Jamie, you can correct me, but I think it was around 9,000.
Yeah,
So,
I can't remember.
and so we're envisioning something larger that's the interior. So because it came up actually, Steph, at the project management meeting, that this is almost like a separate project to the community center. It would parallel it. It would be entwined with it. It would, definitely have to be, planning would have to coincide with it, but it's almost like it has its own separate budget. I mean, I say we, but probably me, I mean, we may have to fundraise for this public art piece. That it might come down to that. We might definitely, I think there's going to be grants will have to be written for this. So there's a number of steps and factors to be considered, as well as a public competition.
Okay, sounds like there's still quite a bit to sketch out there.
Absolutely. So again, just wanted to bring this to you early stages, heads up as you're planning over the next short to midterm, and giving you some more things to think about.
Jackie, has the community center project gotten to the point where you're getting architectural I don't know, tenders, that's the right word, but have you chosen an architect, or are you laying out what is required?
So the building itself is completely designed, and
Okay,
although they're doing some updates to part of the design, and the intention was that it would go to tender in New Year,
okay.
2021, probably, yeah, early 2021 to go
Yep.
out to tender to be constructed. So,
Great.
so things are moving along. As I said, this work and even discussing about this potential public art piece has been happening within the project management team, and
Yep.
that is the project manager for the community center as well as the architects. So they're on board. So they would be, the suggestion is, the intention is that maybe next month or maybe it'll be in the new year, but we would have our first workshop together, and probably whomever is part of that subcommittee for this initiative to sit down and, of course, within parameters, have some things laid out in terms of, really what we're looking at. And yeah, so that would probably be the process. Start out with a first workshop to, brainstorm. And I mean, I would bring some things in as well, define the area. We would probably have a layout of the site, things like that to start with.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. If you had a site, and if you're planning to run like electrical for lighting, or maybe like barriers to stop people from climbing on it, that kind of thing, if that's all been.
That's why we want to start now, is because the electrical is so important, right?
Yeah.
And the siting is so important. So that's why we need to get underway fairly soon, because that will all have to, that will be even possibly be part of the tender process. So, I mean, it's not a huge rush in the sense that, we're at the end of the year already, but it's also something that we know we have to get underway right now.
Great.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Jackie. I think I want to move on from that since it is so preliminary. I think we've all got enough information right now. We'll throw that on the discussion board for our next meeting and identify some things to do with that moving forward. Getting back to the budget, I think we want to take a vote and just say, are we all in favor? Jamie, if you're willing to take our last year budget and give it an update. I think what would be nice, if we can, and Steph, you can correct me if this is inappropriate, but the item with the Spirit of the Flame sculpture, it would be really great to maybe put that at the top as completed, and then move on with the items that we look forward to addressing next year as forming the budget part. Can we do that?
Yeah, sure.
Jamie, yeah, can we chunk that out a little bit? Okay. And
so why don't you give we'll just make a recommendation that council directs staff to include a budget for public art. Can we get a dollar amount for the recommendation? And then Jamie can flesh out the 2021 plan, basically a carryover, and share it with the committee.
Yeah, I mean, we really don't know what the specific tasks would be, because that's all dependent on the conversations ongoing with the community center folks. So I threw $2,500 out as just a placeholder mark, but I think that would certainly cover enough for small consulting fee and or research to just get that idea solidified. Is everybody okay with that amount, or do you want to throw something else out?
So
yeah, I think that would suffice for at least to get to the point where we know how we're going forward. And
that's it. Yeah. The rest would be a much larger scope for sure. So, but to get us moving, to get us just rolling on that one, I think $2,500. We can determine exactly how that's going to play out or be spent as it goes. But yeah, all in favor for the 2,500, I guess. Do we have to vote on that stuff?
Sorry, so 25 for the community center public art piece.
Correct. And that was, I want to call that consulting and or research.
Sorry, consulting and or research.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
then-
just getting that scope solidified.
So, but do you want to vote on the whole 2021
Yes,
public
we
art
do.
budget?
Yes,
So
we do.
what we can do is maybe bullet point some items
Okay.
that Jamie will provide a document to support those items soon.
Okay.
So do you want to list them off for me? So 10,000 goes into the reserve. That's the annual,
Yes.
right? 10,000 reserve. Next.
Well, I think
Anybody?
we need to test the cleaning the lock block wall. We could do, so my fear around that is that a simple pressure wash is not going to suffice. I was wanting to test that just in case we somehow got magically lucky. But my guess would be that a full restoration to bring those blocks back to raw concrete will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000. So
$5,000?
yeah, I know. I'm not kidding.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at 750 while you're talking, and that just seemed like
Yeah, that was to test
right.
pressure washing,
Yeah.
right? It's a big section of blocks.
So it looks like maybe Jackie, you can help me with this. So it looks like the 2020 budget, there's 10,000 that goes into the public art reserve, and then a lot of these items coming back out of the public art reserve simultaneously.
Oh,
So it
I thought there
says-
were two different things. I thought we were given money for a reserve which was earmarked for maintenance and new projects, and then we were proposing a budget to take care of specific items. Am I wrong there?
understanding too, Scott. So I'm kind of surprised to see that says public art reserve. I don't know. The public art is a separate, yes, I'm pretty sure that's the way, with separate fund for reserve. And then the rest is kind of more of a budget.
So what Scott's saying is we've got the 10,000 as a reserve, and then all the expenses come out of that 10,000.
No.
No?
10,000 as a reserve that allows us to actually fund new acquisitions and new projects. But then we propose a budget every year as well, this is part of what we're doing, to maintain and repair our existing public art collection.
Yeah, it's in addition to, for sure. So
Yes,
Okay.
there's no way we would survive anything.
No.
Okay, so we've got 2,500 for the community center, public art, consulting and or research, 10,000 into the reserve. You want 5,000 for the lock block wall?
We could,
Right.
I feel like we better throw that into the budget, because I know, like, my fear is that we could do a test and get nowhere. And then I've already had conversations with the company that knows that they can get rid of the paint on the lock block wall, but it's a very specific process of vapor blasting, and it is not cheap, I'll tell you.
So I've got a question. So if we do this lock block wall project, do we know how long that paint will last? Like, is that going to be only a year or 2 years? Do we know that?
No, we don't, because we haven't identified the actual kind of paint, and we also haven't specifically discussed whether that project is meant to be a long-term, so 5 years plus, or is it a short-term around 2 years? So if it's about 2 years, then any decent quality paint is going to hold and be fine for a couple of years. After that, maybe we're stripping it off anyway for the next iteration of whatever it is. Yeah.
Right.
But so the caveat, or the thing to remember is whatever paint we use let's say that we have stripped the block wall completely off to raw concrete. Whatever paint we use is going to be much easier to remove because it is not meant as an outdoor permanent covering, and plus it wouldn't be 10 layers thick either. Any subsequent prep or cleaning of that wall for another project is not going to be, it's not going to be like every time we want to do it, it's just 5,000 cleaning. It's not going to.
That's exactly where I was going. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that my intention in the maintenance end of things would be to fully prep the lock block wall really well once, and then subsequently just a regular power washing that the Bowen Muni Public Works Department could do at a very reasonable cost would be possible.
So we need that description for this work plan, Scott. As it stands, it's just a test.
Yes, that's correct.
The power wash, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to need those words from you.
I can write that out for you for sure.
Okay.
Full description. Okay.
So I've got then these three to include in the public art budget for 2021. The 2,500 for community center, 10,000 for the reserve, 5,000 for the lock block wall. And then I'll say carryover from 2020, which will include the, do you want to keep public art donation? No.
Public art publication.
No,
Let's call that. Oh, sorry.
That communication and education.
Oh, that should go, it should be pushed forward.
That's pushed forward.
Yeah, I think that would be the possible website.
2,500 communication and education.
And an inventory. I think it's important to have an inventory of what we've got. And that sort of goes a little, it goes a little bit into the accession policy, where we would where we're going to update that to include notifying artists prior to doing any maintenance work, but also, as Philip said, about the list of stakeholders that are involved with that piece of art. That's really important in that, in this, as part of the work plan. What am I saying? That public art program part of this work plan include all that information. So I think what I'm saying is that inventory that we want to create is really important and includes stakeholders.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so that's important to be included in what your job. My job is just to get a recommendation out of you guys right now. So that's going to be very bare bones, bulleted numbers.
Right.
And I can hand to Jillian.
I have to admit, I need a little bit of help understanding something here, because I'm reading, I have the policy in front of me that was updated last September. And it says specifically in it, with this annual contribution of $10,000 towards a public art project. Why would the wall not be considered the project of the year that requires that funding?
Yeah, my thinking around that, I think we've talked about that. It's a good point, and I know it did come up in our early discussions. What we were actually hoping was the lock block wall is not in and of itself a public art project, but it is a potential site for a public art project. So we were trying to figure out ways of having another department, the Public Works Department, who kind of oversees that.
That's right.
Get them to be responsible for what we might term maintaining or prepping it for us to do what we are tasked with doing. But that wasn't, I don't remember that was possible. So I think how we determined it was prepping the lock block wall for a public art project is definitely distinct and separate from a public art project.
Okay. And I'm asking this mostly as one who will have to defend this budget.
Yes.
And it also has in there an annual operating budget of $2,500 to fund the administration and ongoing maintenance of the public art.
Okay, so
that's already in there.
So the annual reserve is in there, and that 2,500 is in there. So you don't think it should be in this recommendation? I just thought I'd include it all, just so it was all part of the same.
I'm just not sure how, you know, how it has to come forward. So
Well, maybe I'll say that. Sorry, what was that for? Was it for maintenance, Julian?
Is an annual operating budget of 2,500 will be established to fund the administration and ongoing maintenance of public artwork in the budget year subsequent to approval of this policy. The operating budget.
Maintenance. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to put those together and say, and what's the policy called? Sorry, thank you, Jillian.
So, well, yeah, you just sent it to me.
Already a pro. I just sent it to you. What is it? There's a policy and then a bunch of attachments on that. So
yeah, it's policy number 18-004.
yeah, I'll say per the policy. Okay.
Public art program and policy, it's titled.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that 2,500, I mean, I remember when we were talking about it when we first proposed the policy itself. And so that was for maintenance. Oh, you know, it was we realized we had to put something identified, because I don't think usually the committees identify a budget when they're developing their policy, but we wanted to establish the reserve, that was Adam, like the municipality committed to that. And then we said, well, we've got to have something there annually for maintenance. So they said, okay, 2,500. But we recognize that, you know, that might not cover once we have an inventory of public art. Right now, we're not really spending a lot of money on maintenance at all, but, you know, in the future, it might escalate. So those were just, yeah, that was kind of a number that we knew could just slip into the policy as opposed to budget.
But so this is an approved policy. So any requests that are above that, I think that maybe that's part of my main point. If we're saying this is already approved, this is a request on top of that.
So we don't have to add that as part of the work plan. You're saying that that's because it's already a policy.
I wouldn't say it's not part of our work plan. It's just, I'm just referring to the
additional request
document. Yeah.
Okay, so, but I think for the purpose of this, like just for clarity, and because the CFO doesn't have every line of every policy memorized in his big job. So possibly just to acknowledge that these two pieces, the 10,000 and 2,500, are included in the policy. So that's an expectation, and then make an additional request on top of that. That may or may not.
I think the requests that we've identified right here are over and above either of those two amounts. That, you know, there's that $2,500 as a general maintenance would get eaten up in fairly short order once we get our balls rolling again. So you know, the items that we're discussing right now are over and above those two amounts. Yeah.
So I just want to clarify, so am I putting that in the work plan, that 2,500, that just like you say?
I think Steph wants to make note of that in the work plan.
Okay.
So that our CFO understands the scope of our committee and the amounts that have already been set. But that I would identify that as just general maintenance with no specific project or item in mind at this point.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Jackie? Just with your history?
Yeah, I would think so. I think that.
So can I show you guys what? I'll approve this wording. So Jamie's working on the work plan, but this will be the recommendation that can support that. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Just because we can't vote on something that doesn't exist yet. Like if we had the work plan made, then we could vote on that number. But since that's a task for Jamie to work on later, I just want to make sure that numbers that you're supporting are clear and documented for this. And then they'll be supported by the work plan.
Could I just suggest that for the 2,500 for the community center public art project planning and development, rather than consulting and or research, just planning and development.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'll clean it up.
Sure. I think looks fine to me.
Looks good.
Do you think should we specify the 5,000 for the lock block wall is actually for the preparation of the site as opposed to the project itself?
Yeah.
Good call, Jillian. Thank you. Everybody okay with this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you,
So we're gonna
Steph.
get a mover and a seconder.
I'll move first.
Seconded.
Now, all in favor?
Yes, great.
So I can work on this today. Shall I send it by this committee first
Yes.
before I send it to you, Steph?
I'm on the committee list, so send it to everyone.
Okay.
And maybe
And
give
then-
them a deadline for comment. Hopefully
Okay.
you won't have many
I'll
of.
give you all 20 minutes to comment. We'll move on.
She's so generous. Okay. I think we can call this meeting to adjourn, no?
You want to talk about next meeting?
Well, we, in terms of date, you mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, so is this doodle polling working or
I can doodle poll. I'm wondering what you're thinking. Do you want to meet in December or in the new year?
no, I think, you know what I'd like to do is meet sooner rather than later. Because we've covered a lot of ground and we're getting reoriented with each other and all of the tasks with this meeting. It certainly felt like a little bit more plodding than normal. So I think that we should meet, if we can meet in about a month, definitely before the holidays start, so that we, because I know once the holidays start, everything just like disappears down a big hole. So can we do somewhere around like the first week in December? Is that
Okay,
possible?
I'll doodle that.
Like, or after the first week of December in there,
Mhm.
I don't know what the dates are.
Yeah, I'll doodle it. Don't worry.
Okay.
I got this.
I know you do. You're so good.
Okay.
And
That was intense, Jillian.
For me?
Intense. But we're done.
Well, I think you're so good too. So
And Steph, will you also include me in on that, just so that if I'll probably be able to bring forward something further on this community center public art piece.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Well, there, call to adjourn.
Okay. Thank you.
I got other things to do. No. Thank you all for joining in. This was great. It's lovely to see your faces. And Steph, thank you again for everything, keeping us moving on this this meeting and also getting us organized for the next. So we will keep moving forward. And
much.
great meeting everyone I had met.